Hello, I'm Faith Jacobs, and I would like to introduce you kindly to a little preview of a book I have been working on, while also working on Faithfully Yours Mozart. Now, this story will not necessarily be, this story is subject to change, so just take this preview with a grain of salt. That the official version could be so many drafts and changed, but right now as it stands, this is Chapter 1, The Troublemaker. Salzburg, Austria, 1773. Run, Cesarelli, run! What in heavens is happening? Brunetti shouted. Brunetti, don't dilly-dally by the door. Come on, Cesarelli exclaimed. Hurry! He's after us, Wolfgang cried. You mean he's after you, Wolfgang? God in heaven spare me from your incompetence. For the last bloody time, I thought I told you not to pull pranks on the Archbishop's minion. He hates jesting, Cesarelli cried. A young man, 5 foot tall, 17 years of age, with dark brown hair, a nose a touch too big for his face, and wide but adorable hazel-colored eyes, shouted as he came stumbling through the hallway of the massive cathedral. Tripping over his own 2 feet, along with his male companions, a blond 18-year-old Italian boy with handsome features, the perfect nose, dark eyes, and olive skin. Upon bursting out of the office of a rather prominent individual, they both had kicked up the speed into high gear as they hurried to escape said individual, an angry elderly man dressed in red holy clothing. He was drenched in liquid, and it was dripping all over the floor, much to the chagrin of the maids who came following behind to clean up after the fuming elderly gentleman. He was preoccupied with bounding after the boys. Not to mention, he had begun shouting rather crudely in High German at them. His Grace Count Arco just called you a ninny penny, which you are, not to mention as clumsy as a donkey, Cesarelli exclaimed angrily. Hey, that's mean. I am not a ninny penny nor a donkey. You are, Wolfgang argued, sneezing quite suddenly into his arm. He stumbled over his own 2 feet again and accidentally somersaulted forward like a child's bouncing ball, until at last he face-planted upon the marble floor below, although thankfully without severe injury. He arose as quick as he could, wiped his poor nose on his sleeve, and sauntered on to join his companions, who were still running at a quickened pace. Whew, you're giving me a look, Wolfgang huffed. Yes, because my case is proven. You're the whole reason we're running, idiota, Cesarelli cried. Wolfgang huffed, rolling his eyes as he, their mutual friend Brunetti, and Cesarelli all made a break for the main sanctuary of the church. As they began to descend a spiral staircase together at an ever-accelerating speed, never slowing down, they were able to catch their breath as the angry gentleman that Wolfgang had pranked earlier still pursued them. Well, it was remotely funny watching Herr Arco get all drenched by that sweet bucket of punch. Up until I fell, I sneezed, and he spotted us. Wolfgang laughed. Yes, thanks to you and your big mouth, not to mention your stupid nose, Wolfel. When he catches us, we'll be mucking out the horses' stalls for the next 2 weeks, Cesarelli chided. I can't help it. I'm clumsy. What was I supposed to do, stop myself from falling? Wolfgang grunted. Yes, you absolute imbecile, Cesarelli groaned. The 3 of them reached the bottom of the stairwell with a screeching halt, and tumbled over each other, with Brunetti being the first to fall, followed by Cesarelli and then Wolfgang, who exhaled with exhaustion and enthusiastic laughter as they untangled themselves from the pile made upon the cold marble floor. I'll get you, you filthy, mangy little whelps! Arco screeched. Wolfgang leapt to his feet swiftly and blew a raspberry in Arco's direction. Turning around to shake his behind at the man, he straightened out, leaned his head back as he laughed hard. The sound of his laughter echoed and bounced all around the chamber, yet it was infectious to the ears, quirky to hear, and bright as the sunlight itself. It's raining, it's pouring, and the old count is boring. Na 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 na. Come and get me, sir, Wolfgang giggled. Well, now he's definitely going to kill us, Brunetti deadpanned. Only if he catches us, the old codger. Come on, he's nothing but a slowpoke, Wolfgang laughed. He blew a kiss with both hands and continued the trek of running with his friends, until at last the three of them spotted the big, heavy oak doors to the cathedral, and they swiftly, with much effort and adrenaline on their part, skedaddled their way out of the church, down another flight of stairs, and homeward bound with their feet hitting the dirt road beneath them. Ah, Salzburg. Home, sweet home. It was a quaint little town with nothing in it. No theater scene, no operas. Just a sleepy little place in which one had to travel to the capital, Vienna, in order to do anything exciting. Meanwhile, here, everything was the same, day in and day out. It was dull as a tomb, and save for the church and the small, family-owned shops in the center of town, nothing adventurous ever happened. Rumors and word spread around easily, as it remained that everyone knew everything about everyone else's business. And with that, everything was known, or would eventually get out to those you really wished wouldn't hear of your church misadventures. Well, that was exciting, wasn't it? Wolfgang chuckled, as he, Cesarelli, and Brunetti bolted towards the center of Salzburg's main town square, hoping they might disappear and find themselves in all clear from Herr Arco's rage. The two boys shook their heads at Wolfgang's carelessness. Excuse me, but exciting wasn't exactly the word I'd use, Cesarelli spat. Wolfgang laughed and rested his hands behind his head as he lay down upon a grassy hillside and looked up at the clear summer sky above. He was distracted by flying birds about and smiled contentedly at their graceful expression of freedom. All right then, Cesarelli. What would you call our little adventure then? Wolfgang asked carelessly. The summer breeze blew over the town with immense force and intensity. Then it made the blades of grass dance, and the summer flower petals took to the air, wrapping the atmosphere around Wolfgang in a flurry of bright colors. He watched in awe and softly laughed to himself as he watched a few dandelion seeds fly and fade away. Well, haven't you got an answer? Wolfgang asked. Indeed I do. You'll be the death of us, little wolf. You know that, don't you? Cesarelli huffed. Unless our fathers kill us first. Brunetti swallowed hard. Oh, right. I suppose my father isn't going to be happy with me. As for yours, at least yours aren't making you suffer by being a simple choir boy, Wolfgang retorted. We're all choir boys, Wolfgang, Cesarelli chided. Wolfgang sighed with distraction. His mind was wandering to the aromas of bread and sweets, and the flowers in the air had littered the atmosphere with their sweet perfume as he exhaled with ease. Oh, of course. I plain forgot, Wolfgang replied. You plain forget a lot, including the fact that I warned you what would happen if you pranked Herr Arco, Cesarelli huffed. I didn't forget that. I just thought it would be funny to pour some punch on him, Wolfgang giggled. Just for the record, I was against this, Brunetti chirped up. Oh, shut up, Brunetti, Cesarelli groaned. You shut up, Brunetti fired back. He tackled Cesarelli to the ground, and they wrestled for a moment or two, while Wolfgang plucked a little blade of grass from the hillside and blew at it, making the noise of a duck with his mouth over and over again as Cesarelli and Brunetti beat each other up and dirtied their clean garb with dust and grass stains, until at last they were both satisfied with their roughhousing. Cesarelli huffed as he folded his arms, arose to his feet from the ground, and glowered at Wolfgang with daggers in his eyes. Yes, Wolfgang sighed, tossing the blade of grass. You owe me, Cesarelli snapped. No, I don't, Wolfgang protested. It was your fault, the whole thing, Cesarelli squeaked. Sure, fine, I take responsibility, your majesty. But all that happened, Cesarelli, was that I fell from our hiding place. The incense tickled my nose, and voila, he gets drenched. And here we are, Wolfgang sighed. I'm amazed. You haven't been kicked out of the church. Your incessant troublemaking is enough to excommunicate you. What? Brunetti spoke up. Cesarelli slapped him upside his head. Please don't catch Wolfgang's stupid too. Wolfgang leapt to his feet in protest and gripped the leather satchel around his shoulder. He tapped his fingers together upon it in a rhythmic manner and set his gaze towards the ground, where he spotted a little butterfly landing upon the pretty flowers, before he set his rather upset gaze upon Cesarelli and Brunetti again. I'm not stupid. You are. If having a little fun means I'm banned from God's house, who cares? And now you're a heathen. I'm sure your father is real proud of you, Cesarelli scoffed. Oh, shut up. Anyway, I wasn't meant to play music for the church, nor sing for it. I swear, my talents are going to waste under this new archbishop. And all I want is to pursue an opera, a German opera, Wolfgang protested. Oh, good grief, Wolfgang. Please don't drone on about your silly little German opera dreams. There is no room here in Salzburg for such nonsense. Cesarelli groaned. Oh, come on. Oblige me. I mean, I played before queens and kings and noble ladies and princes. I traveled halfway across Europe with Nannerl and my papa and my mother. And I didn't do it all just to come home and suffer pompous men who don't appreciate good musical skill, nor to waste my days being taunted by men like Herr Arco, Wolfgang scoffed. Brunetti could tell that Wolfgang was upset, and Cesarelli hadn't been kind by egging him on and goading Wolfgang into thinking he had to defend himself against the bullying. Wolfgang, hear me well. You have quite the spectacle of a dream, but that's all it has to be, Brunetti chimed in wisely. How can you say that? You're not telling me that being bossed about by those men in the church is fulfilling to you, Brunetti? Wolfgang asked. It has to be, Brunetti replied gently. But why? Wolfgang asked. The three of them moved away from the hill together and began walking a little ways into town, where they were wrapped up in all kinds of sounds of chatter, gossip, and horse-drawn carriages. I don't get it. How can you be so content? Well, I don't question my elders. They know best. And if my father says that my lot in life is singing and playing violins for our church orchestra, well then, I must be content. Be lucky. After all, like me, you have some form of employment through your father's servitude to the archbishop. Isn't that a privilege? A blessing? To be talked down to as if we're children? Wolfgang gasped. One of us is. Cesarelli spat crudely. Oh, just shut up, Cesarelli. I'm going this way to the bakery. I'm hungry. And you two imbeciles can go back and beg for forgiveness from Hierarcho for all I care. But mark my words, I won't be somebody's serving boy, not me. I'm gonna be more. Just you wait, Wolfgang argued. He took off running through the crowd of people upon the dirt road, dodging horse-drawn carriages and passing tea shops, running past the butcher's, general store, the coffee house, the bookshop, the little market stalls along the way, when he at last found himself standing at the corner of the baked goods store, and he promptly darted inside.